Language is like a tree. It only grows strong when rooted in the right soil. Without that foundation, it may stand, but it won't truly thrive or be understood. And for teachers, this is important because teaching language is not just about rules. It is also about helping learners grow, connect, and communicate clearly in the real world.
Good day. I am Charlotte Gabriel from BISAD in 20, and for my performance task in applied linguistics and language teaching, I created this mini documentary film. Hence, in this video, I will show how language works not only in everyday situations, but how understanding language helps teachers teach more effectively, clearly, and meaningfully.
Have you ever had a misunderstanding with someone even if they were speaking clearly?
Opo, I think sa group project namin, may classmate ako na nag-explain clearly, pero iba yung pagkakaintindi ko. I thought papalitan yung topic, pero small change lang pala. So, nagka-misunderstanding kami.
Why do you think that happens?
I think nangyayari yun kasi kahit clear yung words, iba-iba pa rin tayo ng interpretation based sa context and experience.
That is where applied linguistics comes in. It studies how language works in real situations, especially in teaching and learning. It's not just about rules, but it's also about solving real classroom problems like misunderstandings, confusion, and communication breakdown. For teachers, applied linguistics helps us understand why students struggle even when the grammar is correct. And more important, it guides us on how to teach language in ways that learners can actually understand and use.
As someone who grew up with a dialect, have you ever pronounced words differently?
For the first question, no, so bilang isang tao na lumaki sa probinsya or may sarili kaming dialekto, may mga words or certain pronunciation na differ talaga sa um, usual na ginagamit natin. So for example, kami kasi sa Bisaya is mas may diin or mas mabilis kami magsalita. So, pagdating sa pagsasalita ng Tagalog, hindi kami ganun ka fluent or something na magandang pakinggan pagdating sa pagpropronounce ng mga words, which is sometimes yung mga words na yun is nagkakaroon ng ibang meaning.
This is about sound. In linguistics, this is called phonology. In the classroom, students may know a word but still pronounce it differently. Hence, a small change in sound can change the meaning completely. A teacher who understands phonology can guide learners in producing correct sounds, model pronunciation, and give practice activities because in teaching, pronunciation is not about being perfect. Rather, it is about being understood. In addition, words are not random, but they are built from parts. In teaching, this helps students analyze words instead of memorizing them. Wherein, a teacher can show how prefixes and suffixes work so learners can guess the meanings of new words. And that is called morphology. It makes vocabulary learning easier, more logical, and more independent. Syntax, on the other hand, focuses on how words are arranged to form a clear sentence. In teaching, it helps learner build full ideas that make sense. A teacher can explain why a sentence is incomplete and guide students to express their thoughts more clearly. Because without structure, students may know words but still struggle to communicate effectively. Moving on, for semantics and pragmatics. Semantics is the study of meaning in language. It focuses on the literal meaning of words and sentences. Pragmatics, on the other hand, is how meaning changes depending on context, situations, and intention. For teachers, Both are important because students must learn not only what words mean, but how meaning changes in real communication.
When someone makes a mistake in English, what do you usually think?
When someone makes a mistake in English, what do you usually think? To be honest, when I listen to other people speaking English, I tend to seek what ideas they are conveying or what the speaker truly means. And while doing that, I cannot provide a focus on grammatical structures. Maybe because I tend to think immediately about the idea within the speech rather than its structure. But of course, there are times that the mistakes are obvious, and when that happens, I tend to reason. Maybe there are several factors that affect the speaker's speech.
Do you think mistakes are important in learning?
Yes, it is, as it is an evident that there are still rooms for learning simply because I define learning personally that learning is an active progression and cognitive strengthening, like in muscles in gyms. For a muscle to grow, it has to experience pain. In learning, for someone to grow, they must put themselves in situations where they make mistakes in order for them to come back stronger. And they do that continuously, which is why mistakes in learning support active progression and cognitive strengthening.
Mistakes are not leaders because they show how people are learning. Therefore, in vision, errors are important because they help teachers understand what students need to improve. So, instead of simply correcting, the teachers analyze the error and respond with the right strategy, like pronunciation practice or sentence building activities. Because effective teaching is not about judging mistakes, because it guides learning.
Do you speak the same way to your friends and to older people?
No, I speak more casually and intimate with my friends, while to older people, I speak in casual, lowering my tones and using respectful words like po and opo.
That is communicative competence. In teaching, it means helping students learn not just grammar, but how to use language appropriate. It includes knowing what to speak, how to speak, and who you are speaking. A student may know grammar rules but still struggle in real conversations. That is why teachers must teach language as it's used in real life, not just in class. Aside from that, people also use different languages, accents, and ways of speaking depending on their background. This is called linguistic diversity. In the classroom, this is very important because learners come from different language experiences. In the Philippines, for example, students often switch between Filipino and English. Hence, a teacher must understand this not as a problem, but as part of learning. Because respecting how students speak means respecting their identity, and inclusive teaching creates a more supportive learning environment. One example of a linguistically informed teaching material is a morphology word building chart. This material shows how words are formed using prefixes, roots, and suffixes. Additionally, students can build new words and discover meanings by analyzing parts. This is effective because it helps learners expand vocabulary without memorizing every word and encourages independent learning.
Language is not just something we study, it is something we live. Every conversation, every misunderstanding, and every connection is shaped by language. Through this documentary, I realized that teaching is not just about giving lessons. Rather, it is also about understanding how language works and how learners experience it. Applied linguistics helps teachers become more effective, more thoughtful, and more responsive. Because when we understand language better, we don't just teach better. We help learners communicate, connect, and be understood.
This has been my mini documentary. Once again, I am Charlotte April, and thank you for watching.